We've looked at the basics of graphing exponential functions, and if you remember, when we have something such as f of x equals a to the x power, we can start with the two ordered pairs 0, 1, since a to the 0 power is always 1, and then we also have the point 1a, since a to the 1 will always be a. What we're going to look at today is using the basics that we learned for transformations when dealing with polynomials to apply the same concepts to these exponential functions. I'm going to graph each one on the graph below, and then we will find the one that it matches in our graphs shown here. So let's begin with 5 to the x minus 1. If we look at 5 to the x minus 1, our most basic function is 5 to the x. So our 2 points are going to be 0, 1, as always, and then 1a for our most basic function. Coming over to the graph, we graph 0, 1, and then we graph 1, 5. And we know it's going to proceed up since a is greater than 1, and it looks something like this. If you remember our order, we look at the exponent first. Anything inside the exponent shifts left or right, so this graph does not shift left or right. There is no reflection, since there's no negative in front of the x and no negative in front of the a. However, the minus 1 is going to shift us down 1. And so our graph is now going to look like this. And if we look closely, we can see that the only choice that makes sense for that one is choice A. So number 1 is going to be A. If we look at our number 2 here, we have 1 minus 2 to the negative x. Our most basic function is 2 to the x. So our points that we begin with are 0, 1, and 1, 2. Plotting those points, we see that our most basic graph looks like this. Again, we begin with the exponent. There's no plus or minus a value, so there's no left or right shift. We can then notice that there is going to be a y-axis reflection because of the negative here. So we continue to go through the point 0, 1, but this point reflects across to here. And so our new graph looks something like this. There's also going to be an x-axis reflection due to this negative. So this point here is going to shift down to here, and this point will shift down to here. So our new graph looks like this. And last but not least, this plus 1 is going to shift it up 1, causing our final graph to look something like this. Again, matching our values here, we see that the only one that makes sense for this choice is choice B. Let's proceed now to number 3. If we look at our basics for number 3, we have 6 to the 4 minus x, giving us the most basic function of 6 to the x. I like to rewrite this as 6 to the negative x plus 4. I just think it helps me picture things better. My 2 points are going to be 0, 1, and 1, 6. So I plot those points. And we have our most basic function here. We can then look at our shifts. The plus 4 is going to shift us left 4. So this point moves over 1, 2, 3, 4, and this point moves over 1, 2, 3, 4, giving us something more like this. We can then see that our negative x is going to cause a y-axis reflection. Moving our point over to here, and this bottom point to here, which leaves us something like this. And then there is no x-axis reflection or up or down, giving us the value here in this case is going to leave us with choice for number 3. Proceeding to number 4, our most basic function for number 4, we have 1 over 3 to the x. We can think of that as 1/3 to the x, giving us 0.01 and the 0.1 1/3. We know it's going to proceed down. There is no left or right shift since there's nothing here. There's no reflections and nothing outside, so there's no up or down. Therefore, number 4 is going to be choice C. Our last two here, 5 and 6, if we look at number 5, we have -2 plus 2 to the -3x. Our most basic function is 2 to the x, giving us the 0.01 and 1, 2. If you notice, this 3 on the inside is going to cause it to be a more drastic vertical shift. So our graph's going to look more like this to begin. There's no left or right motion since there's nothing out here. However, the negative is going to cause a y-axis reflection, giving us something more like this. And then no x-axis reflection since there's not a negative here, but then it's going to shift down 2, giving us something more like this, which results in choice E. By process of elimination, we see that number 6 is going to have to be choice D, but let's confirm that. Our most basic points are going to be 0, 1, and 1, 1/4. Which looks like this. And this 1 here is going to shift us to the left, which leaves us with something like this, which does indeed match choice D.